Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. I'm Neil, and as always, I am joined by Sunila. Today, we are going to move away from lists. We are going to move away from top tens of all of the episodes that we have done before. And we are going to talk about something that I think over the next 5 or 6 months, I'm also going to be doing. So, Sunila, we are going to talk about how to plan a honeymoon. And of course, I will go through the process. But I think it's a good point to talk about it because now we are entering into wedding season, right? And everyone must be sitting on their computers, figuring out where to go, how to go, and all of that. Now, a lot of the information is available on the internet. I can compare stuff, I can find out information about it. But you are a travel specialist and you have been to more than 80 countries. So, where does a travel specialist like you come into the picture?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Neil, and hi, everyone. And first of all, congratulations, Neil. I think we are all looking forward to, for to your wedding, and of course, I'm sure you're looking forward to your honeymoon. And in a way, I think honeymoon is the really the most important holiday ever because how many ever holidays you go on again and again and later in life, this time will not come back. So it really makes sense to plan it really carefully. And yes, everybody can do it themselves as well. But if you really want to make it memorable and make sure that everything is well looked after, it really makes sense to have a specialist plan it for you, especially because as the time goes ahead and the wedding preparations just consume you totally, and you have no time left for anything else. So it really makes sense to plan that way in advance and plan it properly and plan it with an agent. And there is a lot that a travel company can do for you. Many times it's about even finding suggestions that you didn't even know you could go ahead and do. And as we go ahead, I'll talk more about it.
Awesome. So, now that is my current state of being also because we are planning the wedding and there's a lot coming in and all of these things. But so, there are many questions. It
Mhm,
starts with where should we go? How
mhm.
long should we go for? What should be our budget? If you're going outside of India, what should be the theme of our honeymoon? Now,
Right.
there are two people coming together of
Mhm.
who may have different interests and all of that. So, my opinion is that both should plan it together. Would you say
Mhm.
that? Or how would you approach planning a honeymoon? What are the questions that you would like to answer first?
Yes, Neil. Like you said, of course, everything else matters: the weather, budget, destination, what it is that you want to do, when do you want to travel, all of that matters. But the most important thing, and I think you really hit it on the nail, is that both of you should plan it together, because I've seen this so many times. We've planned so many honeymoons and to amazing exotic places where we've had them take the helicopter and go out on a peak in New Zealand. So it's called Picnic on the Peak, and basically you can fly off and there's no one else on that mountain, just you and your spouse, and you can have a beautiful picnic. A whole picnic is laid out for you, and they drop you there and they go away, so there really is nobody else on that mountain. When you had your fill of nature and your little picnic, you can call them back and they come in. But just think of it, if someone is more of a beach person, they'll probably get bored on the mountains. So it's really important that people, the couple comes together. And I've seen sometimes I've even seen fights happen right in front of me, because the interests are so varied. And I think it's like the perfect preparation for the life ahead, because you have to compromise a little, but you also have to put forward what you want. And I think when you can reach a common ground, then it's an amazing holiday that you can enjoy. So for example, some people are where I've seen, sometimes the boys are more into adventure. Sometimes the girl comes in and says, look, I want to do a bit of a trek, but he thinks, no, listen, I've had too much, I want to relax a little. And so it's kind of finding maybe different destinations, or one destination which could have both. So you can have the beach, but you could go trekking into the mountains in Hawaii. I mean, you can do both of it together. So you can lie on the beach all day if you want for say 2 days, but the third day you can set off on a beautiful hike as well. So 100% we can find things where both can enjoy. And it's nice to make a wish list that maybe you have a thought that on my honeymoon I want to be here. So first is, of course, deciding the destination together. But even before that, if you have a list of experiences and just wishes that I wish I would do this. Maybe you want to have a great meal somewhere, and maybe your partner wants to have the best shopping area to just go and walk around in a market, like an open air market, or anything of the sort, an adventure, luxury. Reach that wish list, and it becomes so much easier to plan.
Okay, so I quite like the idea of, like, picnic at the peak. And as we go about this episode, we'd like to hear more of such experiences from around the world from you. But now, of course, this is a very subjective question, but what is the ideal duration that a honeymoon should be? Because, sometimes I've seen people at their own wedding, they are so tired with all of the arrangements and all of that. The honeymoon is basically, listen, let's just go to Maldives and relax and not do anything. Whereas some other people are like, at least at the honeymoon, we'll have our own time, because at the wedding, we just are meeting people and all of these things are happening. So is there an ideal duration, or does that depend more so on the destination that you're going to? Or let me ask you this, is one honeymoon enough, or should we do like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that year?
I think you can go on as many trips together as a couple as you want. Of course, there's no stopping. You can break your honeymoon into, say, honeymoon 1, honeymoon 2.0, 3.0, and so on and so forth. But practically, the first trip you go on is generally considered as the honeymoon, and that is why it becomes so important, because after that, it's another holiday that you're taking. It's not really the first holiday after your wedding is the honeymoon. And I would say, in terms of duration, you said it depends on the destination. um, let's put it this way, that, and there's no ideal time, but at least a week gives you enough time to see the place properly and to rest a bit as well. Because honestly, when people are leaving on the honeymoon, I like to keep the first day really free. Like, I would suggest that don't do anything, because you're going to be so exhausted with all the wedding preparations, that on the, otherwise, when you're trying to add that whole value for money aspect, then as soon as you arrive at a destination, sometimes the sightseeing starts, and that's not what you want to do on your honeymoon. So I would say, take the first day really easy. It's like how we acclimatize in Leh Ladakh. The same way you can acclimatize to your honeymoon wherever it is. Just relax, maybe have a spa treatment or something, take in a massage, and be completely rejuvenated to start enjoying the holiday from the second day. So I would say, ideally a week. 2 weeks is great if you have the time, because then you can add in a lot of completely free days where you do nothing but relax, and then have a really action packed day on, after that. Of course, there is also the trend now of a mini moon, which is like a 3-nighter, 4-nighter for maybe someone in the IT company or something who just don't get the holidays. So for them, I would say maybe splitting it into 3-4 short trips. That also makes sense. But in that case, it becomes a little limiting, because then you have to be somewhere closer to where you live. Otherwise, you'll be spending all the time on the flight completely.
Okay.
So
That's great. Now let me come to this question. Often there is a template. If you're going to Australia, do this. If you're going to New Zealand, do this. But I've seen that you and your team at like Veena World often will not do that, because you are trying to understand the person or the two people who have come to you. So what are some of the things that you expect the traveler to tell you, which will help you suggest them a better place? Or let me frame it the other way, what are some of the things that you will ask the traveler to understand what type of personality they are, and then give them something? Because you might recommend bungee jumping in Queenstown to like an adventure seeker, but the same thing to someone who is scared of heights might just make or break their trip. So how do you decide this, that what should I recommend to what person?
Yes, Neil. So a lot of times that does happen. And when it comes to a holiday, not even the honeymoon, any holiday, I think it really has to be tailored to that person. It has to be done with the people who are traveling. Their interests have to be taken into account. And for that, we have to know, the first meeting is really important. The first time that you meet up and you start to realize that what is it that a person likes. So there are a lot of things involved here, but let's start off simply with Very often when people say they want to go and they're not sure of which destination they want to go. Let's start there. Sometimes they know that we want to have like a week in Maldives, or we want to do like 15 days in New Zealand. They are sure of their destination. But when they're not sure, I think the first question is, do you enjoy the mountains more, the lakes, or the beaches? Like, because if both of you are a beach person, then the itinerary is completely different. If you are a mountain person, the itinerary can be completely different. Whether you like culture, is that more of an interest, like, meeting local people, finding out, because come on, at the end of the day, it is a holiday that you're taking. So you have to think of all that as well. So along with, you're not going to be resting all the time. You're not going to be just at leisure all the time. You want to see and do different things. Or say if cooking is your interest, then for example, Bali is one of the most popular destinations for a honeymoon. And if you remember, we've done the cooking class there, and that was a lot of fun. So other than the cooking aspect, but if you really love cooking, then maybe you can spend one afternoon where you just go and see how the local food is made. But if you like adventure at the same time, then maybe you can take a private boat and go off to see the Gili Islands, or you can, go off and do some water sports out there. You can go to one of the beaches and do paragliding, and there's a whole range of water sports that you could do. So really understanding what you want. For example, let's just continue with Bali. If you're someone who likes culture, then I would definitely say that yes, the beaches of Bali are there, but go to Ubud. It's an amazing place, beautiful hotels, the accommodation is fantastic, but you get a complete dose of culture that you would love. Walk in the markets, you have the whole Ramayana carved out on the rocks as you do your whitewater rafting. So it's adventure, but with a mix of culture. So really, it's important to understand what are the preferences, what are the likes, and we've not even come to resorts and the budget and everything. All of that then decides the other factors. But choosing a destination really depends on your interests, and that's what we try to do, like really understand as much as possible. And now here things are a little complicated, right? Because the couple is just about beginning to come together. So there are some things that the bride wants to do, and there are some things that the bridegroom is specific. So we have to make sure that both things are planned and the destination has enough experiences to keep you all busy throughout.
Yeah, and you've planned so many honeymoons, right? You've planned like a mini moon for 3 days with someone. But I remember someone had done a honeymoon with us for 55 days.
That's
And
right.
like they
That's
came
right.
back
That
and
was
they were
all
like,
through
it was,
Europe.
yeah, it was incredible, but they were so tired by the end of it. So, like, given that you have so much experience over the years and you've been to all of these countries,
Yeah.
you know where the experiences are. One question I had:
Mhm.
should the honeymoon be immediately after your wedding?
Good question. Well, there's no specific answer, but I think it should be, simply because one, you want to get away from everybody. You see so many people in the wedding that honestly, by the end, you're like, can I just have some me time or us time? And and the best place to do that really is the honeymoon, because Neil, in Indian weddings, it's not just uh, the bride and the bridegroom, it's also the families who are really involved, and it's fun as well, right? Our weddings are not boring. Our weddings are fun with a lot of song and dance, and so many relatives to look at. But where does that line end between people helping you and people being helping you a bit too much? So maybe after the wedding, you really want some time off, and if time permits, if you have the time, it would be great to step out, go out and have a holiday and really get over the stress and the, just exhaustion of the wedding, and come back rejuvenated to start a life together. So for me, I would suggest yes, immediately after a wedding is great. Also, a lot of hotels actually give you a lot of, privileges and extras when you're on a honeymoon. So they actually ask for a wedding card, or you need proof that this is a honeymoon couple who's coming in. And if it's maybe 5 6 months after, you may lose out, especially in the beachside resorts like Mauritius and Maldives and Seychelles. And I mean, Seychelles is another great place. They will ask for it specifically, that can you send us the wedding card, and can you send us the details of the wedding and the honeymoon. And then you get quite a few extras out there, maybe like a room upgrade, or say flowers, or nice welcome, or a spa treatment. A lot of freebies are thrown in if you are within, say, that first month after your wedding.
Okay, now I'm putting you in a scenario. Let's assume
Mhm,
that two people come to you, and
mhm,
and I'm putting you in this scenario because suddenly everyone's like, for the honeymoon you have to go to Maldives.
mhm,
Okay, and I personally don't agree with that. That
mhm,
Maldives is not the only
mhm.
destination, and I have my reservations for that. Maldives is amazing, but if see Maldives, people go because they love the beach, they love the water villas and all of that. But if there's one person who loves all of these things, but
Mm,
the other person is saying, I don't want to be tied to one hotel,
true.
I don't want to be like just on one island, then what is a good substitute for something like a Maldives? Maybe in India, maybe around the world. Like I just decided, like, might as well throw this question to you.
Neil, so over the years, Maldives has really come up as the honeymoon destination. And of course, since the last year, it's been the favorite place for most Indians because that's our closest international destination where you can really enjoy the holiday. But you're absolutely right. And there is no dearth of destinations or resorts where you can get amazing experiences. So let me go back to the first thing we said. It really depends on what you want to do. Sometimes I feel going to Maldives is like going on a cruise. You're just in one place with things to do. And people do go to Maldives for a week as well, sometimes even 15 days because they just want relaxation. But if that's not what you want and you want to engage in the local culture, you want to maybe take a hike on some day, then the destination changes quite a bit. Yes, if you're looking for beachside places or an island destination, like I said, there's Seychelles, of course, that comes up, and Seychelles is known to be the place where the Garden of Eden was said to be. So it's really amazing. Also has the most photographed beach in the world, and has some private islands like Ladigue where there are no cars and you can walk around. So you get a lot in one destination. If you choose a really nice resort, even Mauritius can be really amazing. Plus, you can add in some hikes and other stuff. So the beaches are there. You have, of course, Tahiti, Fiji, Hawaii. There's a whole lot of islands that you could go to. Bali, we already spoke about. And coming closer to India, you can choose Andaman Islands, which could be another way because then you're not just in one place, but every 3 days or 4 days, whatever, depending on how much time you have, you can choose between two places or three places and move after every 3 or 4 days and get a different experience. If you want the waters and if you're looking for backwaters, then Kerala becomes an amazing place. And of course, if you're short of time, and then Goa is always an answer throughout the year for everything, right? So yeah, you can do a lot, and we've only spoken about islands and beachside destinations. But if you think of it, there is the entire Europe, America. I mean, you have the whole world in front of you. So we can choose a lot of places depending on what it is exactly that interests you.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to plan my honeymoon also because it's going to
Mm.
be fun. It's going to be fun discussing all of these things with Heta and everything. Now, Sunila, as we near the end of the episode, tell me
Mhm.
some of the destinations in India are perfect honeymoon destinations.
Okay, Neil. So again, for the sake of simplicity, let's just start at the top. And Kashmir is great in all seasons. So most weddings in India do take place towards, the wedding season will start now. So say from October onwards, and October all through the winter season. And Kashmir is just magical, I think, in winter. So if you're looking for like the snow and everything, then Gulmarg would be an amazing place to go in for your honeymoon. And like you said, you have Pahalgam, Srinagar. So all of Kashmir becomes great. You of course have Manali, and then you have Uttarakhand as well. And then Ladakh. Ladakh has surprisingly come up as a very beautiful honeymoon destination, though we are kind of nearing the end of the season for Ladakh now. And yes, if you're getting married next year, say around March or something, starting from May again, Ladakh would be a great place. We mentioned the beaches, so you have Andaman and Goa. We also mentioned Kerala because the backwaters, and even living on a houseboat can be something you can experience there. And then you can combine it with the tea gardens. So you have Munnar and then you have the backwaters. That's an amazing combination. Or you can go to Karnataka, so you can go to Coorg and Chikmagalur for the coffee plantations. And Coorg is really stunning any time in the year. And plus,
Awesome.
with its height, it works really well. So you can do like a Bekal and Coorg combination with Karnataka and Kerala. Yes, okay. If you want something, most destination weddings, Rajasthan is the favorite place, right? So you can easily extend into the romance of the desert there and go to Jaisalmer for a honeymoon. Or if you like lakes, then I would say Udaipur would be a great place. And there are just stunning, stunning, stunning resorts and hotels in Udaipur, and you'll have an absolutely great time there. If you're looking for something more cultural and to relax, Pondicherry is another fabulous option for a shorter break or extend it with some other place, and you can really have some amazing things. And then, of course, there are the hill stations. So, you have the Northeast, you have Darjeeling, where again, there are some really pretty properties. So, really depending on your interest, your budget, but I would say don't keep budget as the first thing when you're planning the honeymoon. I know it's important, and when you're planning the wedding, you kind of earmark an amount that this is the amount we need to spend. I would say keep a range there, like don't be stuck on just one price. Keep a range, and then it becomes more fun to fit in maybe something a little bit more special at that destination. So I think that would be the way to really go about planning your honeymoon: destination, experiences, budget, duration, and then the hotels.
That's awesome. And I think that like sums it up sort of like, there's so much to do. I'll only say this, that, if you're planning your honeymoon and if you're planning your second honeymoon or your 50th honeymoon, just enjoy the process, guys. And that is what really matters. Now, Sunila, if people have to get in touch with you or your team at Veena World, of course, they can find you on Instagram at Sunila Patil, right? Or they can message you directly, or they can write to you at sunila@veenaworld.com, or you can go to veenaworld.com and just fill in an inquiry form, and Sunila's team would be super happy to assist you and plan that great honeymoon of yours. As we are parting, as we end this episode, Sunila, any tips to these future honeymooners as they go explore the world and explore life?
Definitely plan early, because planning early gives you that bandwidth to not be disappointed afterwards. Because sometimes you say, I would love to do this, but this is not available anymore. Say for example, if your heart is set on having a pool villa in Thailand, for example, if you're going next year or whatever it is, but if you plan very close to the date of travel, maybe that is not available. So anything, even the experiences and some of the attractions, it may or may not be available. So some of them love to have a dinner at Eiffel Tower or a lunch at Eiffel Tower, and go in. But if you really plan early, then we have time to plan it for you, plan it well, and then you can really have the honeymoon of your dreams. So do talk to us as early as you can, and we'll make sure you have a great time.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Sunila. Thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much, viewers on YouTube. It was great having this episode, and we will see you again next week. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye.